You're watching Nevada Business Chronicles. Take a journey with us to see the innovative businesses that put Nevada on the business map. Connecting you with the businesses, events, and organizations that bring innovation and prosperity to the Nevada area, please welcome your host, Mitch Burney. On today's episode, we're going to take a look at a new show that we've been developing for the last year and a half called Sober FootPrints. One of the biggest problems that plagues our country, our society today, is the alcohol and drug addiction problem. People are dying unnecessarily every day from these issues. As a community, there is something that we can do together. We can start to have the conversations, bring the information, the knowledge forward that will help people recover from these treatable issues. How do we do that? That's what the purpose of this show is to bring those subjects to the forefront and to stop treating them as if they're just going to go away on their own. Information is knowledge. In this case, knowledge is not just power. It can save somebody's life. This is important, and the work that we're about to embark on as a community, as a society, is probably the most important work we'll ever begin to take on. Let's take a look at the television show, Sober FootPrints. Sober speaks for itself. It's the goal, it's the coveted prize. It's the thing we want people to be able to achieve, is sobriety. Footprints, we're referring to the footprints of those that have traveled the road to recovery, the footprints that they've left for others to follow. So on this show, we're actually going to have a series of intermittent sober footprints, stories, little tidbits of information from those that have recovered to help those who are still in their struggle. Let's take a look at one of those sober footprints by world famous World Series champion, Darryl Strawberry.
People always ask me, well, how do we help people in addiction? You know how you help people? You love them right where they're at. Because that's the most important thing. Don't try to beat them over the head and say, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because a lot of times people did that to me and I refused it, I rejected it. You know, and you got to kind of love people right where they're at and find out what's really going on with them and walk with them. You know, don't turn your back. You know, I had some good friends who walked along the road with me. Never turned their back, never questioned me. Even when I was in the midst of my addiction, they loved me right where I was at, and that's what's really important.
The road to drug addiction and alcoholism is a very long and very lonely road, which you'll see portrayed in the show opening of the new television series of an individual trekking to seemingly nowhere, leaving black footprints on the ground. This is the imagery to kind of explain what it feels like to trudge the road of endless despair and to scorch the earth with the darkness of one's life. The road to drug addiction and alcoholism can seem to go nowhere forever, but then there is a time where somebody will stand at that one point in their life where there's hope, where there's opportunity to get well. So in the show opener, you will see some white footprints that are in front of the individual that's been trudging the road of alcoholism and drug addiction for many years. They have to pause and notice that there's all of a sudden white footprints that are there. They haven't left those, they were there before them. The person looks down, looks forward, and has hope because there's others that have led a path for them to follow. He takes off walking rapidly, running, and then throws his hands up in the air in victory, because that's exactly what happens when people get well. Their lives change. They have newfound missions and purposes in the world. Now, there's another part of this television show which is really important. There are many factors in drug addiction and alcoholism. One of them is that there are families involved. And so on the television show, we're going to take a look at some family stories. You know, what it looks like to be a family member that has somebody that you love that's afflicted by alcoholism or drug addiction. The impact on the family, the impact on the community around them that they may not even be aware. But then we're also going to look at those families that have had success in helping, reaching out and helping their loved one seek help and get well. And they're going to be stories of inspiration and hope and an opportunity for you, if you're a family member that is just completely lost, doesn't know what to do, to get some ideas of how you may be able to help your own loved one. I've never met a person that said when they were just a little child that when I grow up, I want to be a drug addict or an alcoholic. So on this show, we're going to take a look at some of those individuals that were stricken by drug addiction or alcoholism that have found their path out. And we're going to tell their stories, share what it was like for them in the world of hope and inspiration and quality of life that they now enjoy. And they're going to give their sober footprint so that others might have a chance of recovering.
With nowadays, with the drugs being so severe, I think you're one step away from anybody overdosing or dying. So if you have a problem with addiction, you should contact either your community or somebody around your community or somebody who's in addiction that you will try to get help. But I think it's nowadays you shouldn't be shameful of addiction or what you're going through, because there are a lot of people out there going through the same problems you're going through.
One of the stories, and our first story that we're going to cover on Sober Footprints, is a story of Colin Smith, an incredible member of our community who is giving so much to be able and be willing to share his story so that it may help others get well. Let's take a look.
From a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a chef. My granddad was a chef, and I knew that I wanted to follow in his footsteps. Growing up in this industry, I was always 15 feet from the bar. I had my first drink at work at age 15. The alcohol, I really liked it. It worked. It made me feel bulletproof. Looking back now, I realize that my grandfather was an alcoholic and a chef as well. So I followed in his footprints. So at the beginning of every shift, I'd start in the kitchen. And at the end of every shift, I'd be sitting right here at this bar, or a bar like it. I spent a lot of time at bars like this over the years. I opened up my first restaurant at 25, and I could sit at my bar anytime I wanted. I did that for the next 15 years until I almost killed myself. Food has always been my passion, but I almost lost all of it. I lost food, family, friends, and I traded all of that for vodka. It almost killed me, but not anymore. Today, I own not only a restaurant, I own this restaurant and 5 other related businesses. None of it would have been possible if I hadn't kicked the vodka. I haven't kicked the alcohol out of my life. The way I did that was I picked up the phone and I asked for help. I got the strength to ask for help from somebody who believed in me. Somebody who believed in me more than anything. My wife sat down on the bed with me one day and said, "I believe you and I love you and I know you have what it takes to beat this." That's what it took for me to pick up the phone. That's what I showed. That's when I was my strongest. The strongest I've ever been in my life was when I reached down, I picked up the phone, and I asked for help. That saved my life. It's brought more gifts, more joy, more love and satisfaction than anything I've ever done. Because the alcohol is not part of my life, all my family is, my business is, my relationships. Everything good has come when I put down the drink. If you find yourself struggling with alcohol and drug addiction, you feel hopeless, lost, broken, your friends and family are leaving you, pick up the phone and ask for help. It is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's the one call that can save your life. It can turn really bad gray skies into beautiful blue skies. Pick up the phone, make the call. There's somebody to answer.
Whether you're the family member of somebody who's struggling or you are the suffering, one thing that most people have in common is, where do we start? Where do we go? Where is the access to recovery? On this show, that may be one of the most fundamentally core reasons for the need for a show like this today. We're going to visit the resources. We're going to take you to the places where recovery exists, and not just take you there and show you where they are, but we're going to have the very, very important conversations that mystify a lot of people. One of those conversations, to give you an idea, is the conversation of when people do get into recovery, why do so many wind up drinking or using again? Well, there's studies that are showing now an issue called co-occurring disorders, where if you strip away the drugs and the alcohol, and there's an underlying mental health, and this may not be mental health in the way that most people consider mental health issues. It could be as simple as depression or anxiety or bipolar or PTSD or a host of other things that if you take away the drugs and the alcohol and the underlying condition isn't cured, you're going to go back to self-medicate again to escape the pain that you're in. Well, we're going to take a look at the facilities and the conversations like that. There's so many of them to really understand how to get and stay well. On the first episode, we were introduced to an organization that's a model, a standard for the rest of the country to look at right here at home in Nevada. It's called Crossroads Reno, and if you aren't aware of it, it's going to blow your mind. Let's take a look.
Back in January of 2011, we started the Crossroads program right here with 6 beds and 3 rooms. Today we house more than 136 men and women. We have more than 100 people waiting to get into the program. The Crossroads program was originally founded as a housing first model to address the seroinebriate superutilizers within our community. We did a study where our superutilizers cost more than $250,000 a year. Many of them now are productive citizens of society giving back. We estimate that we're saving the taxpayers more than $20 million a year. With our Learn to Earn program, we help clients with resume building, cover letters, mock interviews, employment search. As a matter of fact, we currently have more than 60 of our clients employed within the community. We're getting ready to launch our Crossroads snack bar for on-the-job training. We found that more than 86% of our clients suffer from co-occurring disorder. It's just not drugs and alcohol that they suffer from. And if we don't treat the mental health issues as well, the anxiety, depression, the deep childhood trauma, then the likelihood for them to self-medicate again is highly, highly likely. And we don't want them going back to using drugs and alcohol again. So we partner with Alta Vista so they can treat the co-occurring disorder, hit those underlying problems, and the likelihood of success is much greater for that client. Our goal is to increase capacity in programs in order to reduce reoffending. This is our breathalyzer. Our system is really airtight. We even have urinalysis that tests backwards 80 hours if there's been any alcohol in the system. Half of our program residents are here voluntarily, the other half are court-ordered. We pride ourselves with wraparound services, and one of those services is Judge Pearson through his specialty court that holds court here on site.
Well, it's really important that we hold court here and leave the traditional courtroom where we're up high with the robe, with armed officers, and we're sitting in judgment of individuals. Here, we're part of the team. We're part of the team that's helping these individuals on their path to recovery. And we're here with the treatment provider, we're here with the social worker, and the probation department. And it's very important as a judge, I sit at the same level that they do. I don't have a robe on, and I'm here to impress upon them that we together are here to help them as a community. In fact, it's called community court. These individuals were part of the community before they got in trouble, they will be afterwards. And so it's very important we impress upon them that we're here to support them on their road to success. And this program, it's the best part of my week because there's nobody here that is not doing well. It's all different degrees of success that they're at, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months that they're here. And to come here and bear witness to the incredible successes these people are making, it's amazing. I tell them, people brag about running or walking a marathon, and it's nothing compared to what these individuals do day in and day out to better themselves and to be better parts of the community. And to see the way that they support each other in that process is truly amazing.
Now that we've had the conversations about the television show Sober FootPrints, we're also going to have a website, a blog, and social media around that, designed to create this community platform, this national platform where people can have the conversations and talk it out and help each other through this important time in their life. Very important time for our country. As you heard in the Crossroads program, the issues of drug and alcohol addiction affect us on many levels as a community. It's a financial burden. There's crimes committed as a result. There's drunk driving, there's fatalities, there's deaths, there's overdoses. All of this disappears if we help our community members return to community and have productive lives. So this is more important than just helping somebody to get well. It helps us all get well as a community. So we have a website that's under construction right now called soberfootprints.com. And we're going to have on that as well community outreach. We're going to have the platforms, the blogs, the social media, the opportunity for everybody to talk it out and to help each other and get involved. On the website soberfootprints.com, there's also going to be an "If you need help, click here" link to usarehabcenters.org. Again, one of the problems is, where do you turn? Where do you go? So we're building, this is under construction, a national database of providers and services where people that want to know where to turn can go access the information in a way that it's never been at your fingertips before. As a community, I am calling upon you to help us with this show. We're looking right now for show sponsors, donors, and advertisers that will help cover the cost of production so this show can reach as many cities as possible. The goal is to make this a national conversation, to impact as many lives, and to make the quality of life in our own country and our own society much, much better. If you're a business owner, a philanthropist, or just somebody who wants to get involved and help make a difference, or if you have a service that you want to list on the usarehabcenters.org website, please reach out and contact me at contact@soberfootprints.com, or better yet, give me a call personally, 775-287-0107. It's going to take a community to make this possible. Let's band together and make a difference. Thanks for watching. For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. Now more from Nevada Business Chronicles. Today we're here with Chet Fairbanks, one of the partners in Sierra Fire Fuels. Defensible space is what we're going to talk about today. Creating a fire-safe zone, as a matter of fact, your website, firesafezone.com,
FireSafeZone,
is about reducing the risk of losing your property in the event of a fire. We've had a lot of those here lately.
we have. We've had a pretty intense fire season. Nevada's gotten off pretty good this year, but we've seen California happen, and then we've just had some fires over the past weekend. We've seen a lot of homes being lost.
You, the original founder, and one of your staff member, all previous firefighters.
Yeah, it's really important because being an engine captain and former engine captain and on crews, we're going through neighborhoods looking and you actually triage the neighborhoods, knowing which houses you believe can survive, which houses your crews are going to be safe protecting, and knowing where just not to be. And being able to create defensible space and fuel reductions allows a crew to come in, park comfortably, a little hot and smoky, but at your house and protect your home.
So people that have a properly prepared defensible space have a higher likeliness of the fire department choosing their space to defend and take a stand.
That's right. It doesn't matter how much your property costs, what the value of your home. You may have a beautiful home, you could have a trailer. But if you have defensible space, the fire department's going to come in and do their best to protect your property.
And also take a stand against the fire where they're safe. Incredible. What are we doing here today in the forest where homes are? And this is part of what you protect, but you also protect commercial properties as well.
That's right. We're in the urban interface today, and we're working below this home. And the home is surrounded by a lot of fuel. It's not very old, it's only like a year old now, and they haven't gotten around to it. But we're on a nice slope here, and the fire, you can look down into the valley, and there's continuous fuels from the road all the way up to this house. And quite often, wildfires are started right along roads. Roads are a really common place for that to occur.
Wow, I wasn't aware of that. So today, what are we going to do for this property? And then let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do here, trying to reduce the amount of fuel loading that they have below their house so that when the airplanes fly over and they're doing an aerial survey, or the crews come in here, they're seeing that there's a breakup in these fuels. And then we're also going to go ahead, reinforce along their house to make sure that the fire engines want to come, they want to park on this driveway, and they want to protect this home.
This isn't about eliminating fuels, it's reducing them so that you still have the beauty of nature surrounding you.
That's right.
But you really don't give the fuels enough value to go after the property.
That's right. We're trying to reduce the intensity of the fire. We're also trying to make sure at the same time that we're not causing an erosion hazard. We are on a hillside here, and we want to keep that hillside intact. You know, we just had 4 inches of rain up here over the weekend. If this was clear cut, it could have just washed right down the hill.
So behind us, what's going on?
So what we got here is a Bobcat T300. It's got a mulching head on it. It's also known as a masticator. And we're starting to reduce the fuels. We're trying to do a mosaic pattern in here so that we keep the aesthetic value of this property, but also we're reducing the fuel loading.
The masticator is also very environmentally friendly as far as footprint.
It is. It only has a 4 pound per square inch footprint. So that's a lot less than even one guy. You and I walking through the forest, we've got a much heavier footprint. It's distributed properly, and it does the work of 20 men so much quicker and way cheaper.
We're able to save the homeowner or the property owner money and accomplish a job with more perfection.
We have to come in and clean it up, but one guy can come in behind this masticator and clean up, pull stuff back in and regrind it. But it leaves a good mulch on the ground. Once again, cutting down on erosion, because erosion is such a big problem. And if we're not leaving stuff on the ground, it all washes away.
This isn't just sagebrush, this is firmly entrenched sagebrush.
Yeah, this is some old growth sagebrush. That's what we like to call it. You know, the taller it gets, the longer it's been here. Obviously hasn't burned in many, many years.
Looks very dry, capable of bursting into flames, and also something I'm surprised that the masticator can actually just tear right through.
Yeah, the masticator actually, no problem for it. It's able to mulch this up. It gives a nice fine mulch to put across the ground, and so much easier than trying to hand cut all this, haul it to the dump, and you just can't imagine how many loads that's going to take.
Well, there's some environmental friendliness there, is returning this back to the earth and using it to protect the soil from erosion.
Yeah, the masticator is able to just grind right through it, and it does. It leaves the biomass here. You know, we're not removing any of it and taking it to a dump.
We're not loading up the dumps. It's just, again, environmental friendly on so many levels. Let's take a look at the hand crews you have here, because you do use them in many cases as well.
What we're trying to do right here is what we call raising the ladder. And we're getting the ladder fuels from the forest floor out away from the flame lengths of all the fuel around it. That way, trying to potentially keep the fire out of the tree or from burning it up.
And aesthetically, still keeping the tree intact for the property owner and the beauty of the surrounding. This manzanita, as beautiful as it is an extreme fire danger.
Yeah, you know, it's a favorite. It's a beautiful bush. The homeowners love it. A lot of people do, but really volatile fuel.
When you say volatile, you're talking about flash burn, high temperature.
That's right. It burns hot. It burns quick. You know, it's in the realms of the chaparrals, the manzanitas, and it's it's a dangerous fuel.
Then you're going to push some of this back, you're going to leave it, you're going to minimize it but not eliminate it, so the homeowner still has this beautiful landscaping.
That's right.
But enough that it potentially shouldn't reach these other trees which you're raising the canopy level on.
Yeah, that's, you know, we still want the aesthetic value. It does look nice, and if we strip everything, it's adverse. So we're trying to just manicure here, at the same time reducing the fuels.
It's fantastic. The homeowner's going to have all the beauty and a safer house. What people see behind us are trees. You see something completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I see a beautiful forest here, but I also see a lot of need for management. And once we've managed the forest, we need to continue to manage the forest. We need to be good stewards of the forest.
Some of these trees are diseased or in poor condition.
Sure.
Not just increase the fire danger, but they impede the growth of quality, healthy trees.
That's right. We need to make sure the density is proper amongst the forest. We need to go through, see if the genetics are right with the trees. We need to look for infestations, and that's what we do. You know, we have 2 certified arborists through International Society of Arboriculture, and we've been trained to assess these trees.
What makes you so unique in your industry is that you just don't create a fire-safe zone. You also have another company, Sierra Peak Trees, which is devoted to the preservation of trees and also very knowledgeable about those dangers, risks, and bugs.
That's right. We have a good resource because we do have the wildland fire experience to pull from, but we also have the training and the experience to take care of any of your tree needs.
The tree we're about to see removed would have cost the homeowner a great deal of money to have somebody come out and remove, but while you're here creating a defensible space, you're able to remove this. Why is this tree being removed?
We removed this tree because we want to give more space for the other existing trees. We also saw that it had some defects in it where eventually it's going to grow up and they're going to have failures inside the tree. And we want to take care of it now when it's a lot cheaper than having to come out and remove a full-size grown tree.
So from here, I can see wide paths that have been opened up, but from up top, you've done this intentionally for the homeowner's view.
That's right. We've tried to stagger the lanes down here so that up top, you're not seeing that we have a ton of fuel breaking. We have nature still out here. We have good wildland. We haven't taken all the fuel out of here, but we've reduced it. The intensity of the fire coming up the hill is going to slow down.
It's going to give the firefighters a chance to protect the home or property. And more importantly, the visual looking down, you don't see these fire breaks that you've built in. Absolutely still retains the beauty of the nature surrounding these homes. I'm sure people right now are looking for how they can get a hold of you to help you protect their home, especially in light of the annual fire losses that we have in Northern Nevada.
That's right. We can be contacted by sierrafirefuels.com or firesafezone.com and at 775-265-8444.
That's Chet Fairbanks, one of the partners of Sierra Fire Fuels. Thanks so much for allowing us to come out and show what you do to protect Northern Nevada homes and property.
Hey Mitch, sincerely appreciate it.
For more information on this guest or to see this show in its entirety, visit nvbusinesschronicles.com. While you're there, you can watch all of our past shows on the Chronicles page and stay connected with us by following us on our social media. For information on becoming a guest on our show, contact us at info@nvbusinesschronicles.com. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for watching. Tune in next week at the same time for more from Nevada Business Chronicles.